Okay, this video is for Tundra Dweller. He's interested in StreamDeck. Um, you go to Elgato. You've probably done all this already. You can buy the actual StreamDeck hardware, or you can buy a lifetime license of their StreamDeck mobile, and it is really worth it. I think it's only $49. It was the last time I checked. It works on Android or Apple. You can repurpose an old phone or you can use an iPad. And so this is what I have. I first bought the 15 button one. And as you can see, you're going to run out of buttons real quick because, well, you're not really running out of buttons because you have pages. But then to navigate that quickly, you're going to put page right. And then here you're going to have left and right so you can jump around. So then I went and bought the 32 one. I didn't even know there was a mobile option. And again, there's a whole bunch of different ways to set this up. And if you need icons, you can have all the ones I have if they work for you. I try to like align object. I try to make it look like the actual button itself. But I wanted dark mode because I don't work in a bright office. I wanted the backgrounds to be black. And I didn't want it to be cartoonish. So I tried to just make my own night mode. So the next thing is the iPad. So this is the mobile license. So those last two I showed you, the 32 button one, I think was either $299 or $249 or something like that. It was expensive. And it's really cool because each button is its own little LED. And when you push it, you feel it go click, click. It's got a tactile feature. But if you go with the iPad or a Samsung Galaxy tablet, um, you can do 64 buttons. And then if you go on your iPad and you split screen, where you can have two things, I did it once. There's a guy, if you look him up on YouTube, his name is going to come to me soon. Nutty. His name is Nutty, and I think he's from Australia. But he's Asian. He doesn't have an Australian accent. That's about as far as I know. But he's a Stream Deck master, and he showed how you could have 64 right next to 64 on your iPad. The buttons get kind of small, but you don't have to change pages, and you'd have 128 shortcut keys at your disposal. So, like right here, this is SketchUp. Let me go to Chief. And so, what I do is the buttons I use the most, I keep them down in the lower left because that's where my left hand is, and my right hand's driving the mouse. And then to the right of the Stream Deck, I have one of those 3D mice from 3D Connection, which I still don't know how to make work on a Mac. But I think the guys that are making it work are using Windows PCs. But Stream Deck, I use copy and place a lot, and then I'll hit reflect if I want to go rotate or like half the distance radius to some point, and it generates over here on the other side. And center a lot, like Windows. If I drop a window and it's kind of in the center of the room, and I just click on the window, push the center button, and then click in the room, and it's done. One of the tools that I really like is this Select All tool. And when you look at it, it does two things. It first, oh, and I have to explain this, but anyways, it generates the shortcut key to get into that first menu, and then it does the next key, which actually lets you pick the round one that selects everything. And so if I'm editing windows, I click on one window and I hit that button, and now all the windows are highlighted, and then I can just open object or use another button. But when you saw those numbers, there's sometimes that it's just too easy, like CC for center. And I don't just use one key because once you've used the letter C and there's nothing else, you can't use any combination of the letter C starting anywhere else. So my recommendation is, and Dan Bowman said this, at least 2-letter or 3-letter. And so what I did was I went through all of Chief's shortcuts, and they have like 1,200, or at the time I checked, it was I was transitioning from X15 to 16. And yeah, I use that word. And there was like 1,300 or something. And then now I think they're up to 1,600. But I thought, why don't I just number each one with a 4-digit number? Because see how all my buttons have these little, this is the actual old shortcut key. And then what I did was I changed them to a 4-digit number. And I have a spreadsheet where I just went through every single one and then I incremented them by one so that I don't need to know I don't need to know the shortcut key. I just need to see the button and go, oh yeah, I'm going to create a note. Boom. And as long as Chief has where you make a note is this number, then it works. There's some like if you use a shift command or a control command, like this one here, it generates this number. And then I had to put in a delay of 300 milliseconds because it was going so fast to the next number that what is this tool? Multi copy. It wasn't working. And what I want is I grab an object, I push this button, and then it pops up. And if it knows what it is, if it's a joist or a truss, it's usually defaulted to whatever, 16 or 24. But if it's not, it highlights the window you need to type. So if I wanted to have everything on 5-inch centers, I just click the item, click the button, type 5, enter, and then drag that. And so it's pretty quick. And it just sits on the desk. So I guess I got motivated. I was in bed and I happened to just read your post, and the 32 button is pretty cool having that on the desk. But then right beside it, I have the iPad, and I need to decide because now I'm bringing my left hand over to the right side of my keyboard. So I need to figure that out. But I like it. I feel the only downside is I feel lost if it ever crashes or if something doesn't work right or I'm on someone else's computer. Um, it just feels weird. I'm like, wait, where's my shortcut button? And then you got to go up through all the menus and find stuff. So probably the best option is like with Dan Bowman's. He says you already have a keyboard, so let's maximize its usefulness. Um, but yeah, this is just fun. If you like tinkering with this stuff, it's fun and it's real easy. Um, yeah, you could do the DIY thing, or I don't know what Yoda what his product looks like. I haven't spent any money to buy it. I did all this, and then I gave away all the icons I made. And if people want to use them, that's fine. So I don't know how in depth and how awesome his is. If you want to spend $200, go for it. Otherwise, you don't need every single button. Really, I don't use every single button. Once you've done your workflow and you realize what do I use all the time? Like I dimension angle. I don't dimension on angles very often. But in fact, you know what? And this is another thing. I want the polyline down here, and look, it traded places. So now on my actual physical StreamDeck, this is what I see. And I use all this stuff down here a lot. Paste and hold in place, point to point move. Some people don't like point to point dimension, but on certain things, if I need that level of accuracy, I love it. Break tool, yeah. So, and then you can do a screenshot. This is a whole different app. Or I can do Chief Architect screenshot, and that's the Chief Architect. Let's see. So it does that, and it does a carriage return. And I have a puppy that wants to go outside because she cornered a possum, and she wouldn't come in, and she's wanting to get out there and hunt it, and so I'm not letting her out. Anyways, end of this video. It's almost 10 minutes. I'm really motivated about Stream Deck, and I know you'll have fun with it. So yeah, man. I hope some of these words gave you more insight. Have a good one.